Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Wake and Take. It's your boy Jason, and we've got some football to talk about today. It's everyone's favorite. It's Monday. We're looking back at yesterday's action, talking about what went right, what went wrong, some of the best takeaways from the day. Fantasy football is so much fun. Some great storylines from yesterday, so go ahead and take out your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right. Good morning to everyone here in the chat. We're still having the weird thing where it just deletes all the chat when I press the go live button. I saw a ton of you in there this morning. Don't remember all your names, but shout out to you guys for tuning in early, waiting for the show to start. Shout out to you, the Bulgs and Big Time Timmy Jim, for being here right now. Our fearless producer, Dustin, the hairy snowman. Glad to see you all this morning, and plenty more. And if you're listening on the podcast, thank you for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, Week 8 was a very fun one. One of my favorite weeks of the season. I absolutely love when we get to this point of the year. This is when winners become winners, right? Like, this is where the season really starts to turn around. Everything's starting to click. You know, the players have shaken off the rust. We're starting to get through a lot of the bye weeks. You know, we've got players that were rookies that maybe were disappointing starting to get comfortable. We've had some players come in as injuries. Really, like, this is what dreams are made of. Like, the rest of the season here, it's nice. It's nice. And this week in particular had some awesome stories. But before we get into it, I want to run down just real quick some of the injuries that unfortunately happened yesterday. We do enjoy a gladiator sport. And the unfortunate byproduct of that is players be getting hurt. These people be getting hurt. A lot of them. And in fact, I was watching football with my friend yesterday. A lot of my friends yesterday. Shout out Reese, Robbie, Jacob. But players just always be hurt. You know what I'm saying? They are just always hurt. And then when they're hurt, they get hurt again. And then they stay playing hurt. And we're seeing that a lot with yesterday's action in particular. We had Jordan Love re-injure himself. We had Jordan Mason re-injure himself. We had Deebo Samuel re-injure himself. We had Juwan Johnson re-injure himself. We had Kendre Miller re-injure himself. Like, all over the place, just re-injury after re-injury. And then we had some new injuries as well. Stephon Diggs, Brian Thomas, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Drake May, Sterling Shepard, Michael Wilson, DJ Moore, and Calvin Ridley all picked up injuries yesterday as well. So we're going to have to monitor all those names throughout the week. Jordan Love, Stephon Diggs, Brian Thomas, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Drake May, Sterling Shepard, Kendre Miller, Juwan Johnson, Michael Wilson, DJ Moore, Jordan Mason, Deebo Samuel, and Calvin Ridley. Jordan Love tried to tough it out, so hopefully he's going to be able to heal up this week and return. Calvin Ridley got injured late in the game when it was so out of hand. I mean, that Titans game yesterday was awesome for Lions fans. But I don't know how serious the Calvin Ridley injury is. I'm sure they just kind of held him out, really, just because of how bad they were doing. The rest of them, though, I'm sure all of those players are going to miss sometime. Maybe not. Brian Thomas, a chest injury you can usually come back from. But, I mean, concussion, Juwan Johnson and Drake May, that's always tough. The rib injury for Deebo Samuel on top of already what's going on. Jordan Mason re-injuring his shoulder. We'll talk about a lot of these some more in the show. But, yeah, that's just – those are the names I want you guys to monitor over the next couple days. I believe Christian Kirk, he broke his collarbone. I believe it's already reported he's out for the season. So that's really unfortunate in Jacksonville. But anyway, that is the injuries. You guys don't care about that. I mean, you do, but you know, you'll find out from other people, not me. I'm not a doctor. So, but we've got the actual Week 8 reactions here. I believe I have like 18 of them today. A few of them, you know, especially this first one, because I want to talk about this. Is anyone else just confused? Maybe confused, not the right word. Just like, it doesn't make sense to me that National Tight End Day always leads to success for tight ends. Like, at the end of the day, it's just a day. In fact, an arbitrary holiday that the NFL and media just says, hey, Let's have a National Tight Ends Day. But how do the tight ends always show up on National Tight Ends Day? Actually, how? Because I can't figure it out. I really like, do defenses not know it's National Tight Ends Day and they're just like, we won't cover the tight end? Do they know it's National Tight Ends Day and say we won't cover the tight end? Are OCs just calling more tight end friendly plays? Like, there's no way. Like, the way I'm looking at this, right? If I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm just trying to win the game. Like, I'm not specifically trying to force the ball to the tight end because of an arbitrary holiday. You know what I mean? So how does it happen? I actually don't get how it happens. I know it was created back, a little bit ago. It's a recent one as a little bit of a joke, but like, actually, how? Like, I really don't understand. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but it's not like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I don't think like on National Quarterback Day, every quarterback is going to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's just bizarre. We had 19 different tight ends scored more than 10 points in PPR this week. 19! 9 of those tight ends scored more than 15. 5 of them scored more than 20 in PPR leagues. Insane production from the tight end position yesterday. And it wasn't even just the usual suspects. We're going to talk about K-Dot and some more later in the show when we get to the Buccaneers. But K-Dot leads all tight ends in scoring this week. He gets 29 points. He scores 2 touchdowns and like 9 receptions. K-Dot. Adam Troutman put up 18.5 points. Tyler Conklin, 13. Mike Gesicki got back in there. Josh Oliver had 11 points. Like, how? I really just don't understand. Brendan Strange had 10.9 in a game that Evan Ingram was back. Evan Ingram at 13.6. And Brendan Strange still at 10.9. That's 24 points to the tight end position in Jacksonville. Like, what? I just really don't get it. Like, there's no way that just like one day everyone's just like, all right, we're going to feed the ball to the tight end and defenses are just going to allow it. Bizarre to me. I love it. I'm happy. I'm a big fan of the tight end position, and I'm a big fan of Kyle Pitts. So to see Kyle Pitts get 25 points, I was over the moon. But like, I just don't get it. So guys, I'm just going to go ahead and say, remember National Tight Ends Day next year and flex more tight ends than you need to. Play any tight ends in DFS, it seems. Who was the dude? There was a guy in Denver. I've never even heard of his name before, and he scored a touchdown. Now, I think it was a fullback, but fullbacks are kind of tight ends in spirit. But it was just like, yesterday was crazy for the tight end position, and it's just odd to me that it happened on the tight end holiday. Like, I don't know. It just seems a little bizarre. It just seems a little bizarre. But hey, shout out tight ends. Shout out K-Dot and Kyle Pitts, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Trey McBride for the 20 burgers. No, it wasn't Lucas Kroll that I'm thinking of. I'm just gonna have to look up the Denver. I know who Lucas Kroll is. I'm pulling up the game log. It was like some fullback. He caught a touchdown. Nate Adkins. It was Nate Adkins. I was like, who's that? Who's this guy? No, I know. Yeah, I know the others, but Nate Adkins. I was like, who the hell? National Tight Ends Day, ladies and gentlemen. It happened. It was awesome. Shout out tight ends. We'll see if it keeps going tonight. We've got Theo Johnson, Pat Freiermuth. Oh, but it's not National Tight Ends Day anymore, right? So it doesn't even matter. Bench Pat Freiermuth. Bench Theo Johnson. But man, what a day. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Let me know if you guys are as confused as I am. Like, I just don't get how an arbitrary holiday could actually lead to so much success for one position. I just don't get it. Like, I feel like everyone just got together Sunday morning and was like, yeah, let's just, game plan for our tight ends. Let's let it happen on defense. So strange. So weird. But it happened, and it was cool. Shout out Titans. And shout out Jameis Winston. Shout out Jameis Winston. Now, on our Pick'em show on Thursday, we did pick the Browns, but we picked the Browns because of the spread. As the Podfather always says, you take the 10-point home dogs. They were favored. The Ravens were favored by 9.5, but go into Cleveland. And we said, Cleveland's at least going to keep it close. I didn't think they'd win this damn thing, but Jameis Winston just loves to eat W's. And this was an incredible performance from him because it's not like he has great weapons. It's not like he's got a great offensive line. This was an offense, the same offense, in fact, a worse offense, Amari Cooper's gone, than what Deshaun Watson was playing in. First week as a starter, Jameis Winston goes out there. Not only does he not throw an interception, but he leads the NFL in pass yards so far. We still got 2 more games, but he's probably going to do it. And those 3 touchdowns. I just gotta say, Jameis Winston. Holy crap. And then Cedric Tillman, 7 of 9 for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. Elijah Moore, 12 targets. David Njoku getting it in the end zone for National Tight Ends Day. Even Jerry Jeudy was fine, 5 receptions for 79 yards. The only person that was bad was Nick Chubb. And I got to say, I like it. I don't know. 5.2 points from Nick Chubb isn't the worst. It's obviously bad. You want the touchdown, and that's probably how it's going to be all season. It seems he's lost some explosiveness. But he still handled 16 carries for 52 yards, 3.3 yards per carry, and, the second week back. He's going to keep trending in the right direction. So I would say if Nick Chubb is available for a third, if you could get him pretty cheap right now in a league, I would actually be doing it. I think that you'll probably have a really solid second half of the year. We saw last year when Joe Flacco came in, Jerome Ford ended up being pretty good, and Jameis Winston's basically just Joe Flacco all over again. So this Browns offense, some life has been breathed into it. Everyone gets a boost. And just shout out Jameis Winston. My God. And we'll be talking about Cedric Tillman for sure on the waiver wire show tomorrow. I should have been a little bit bolder last week. I didn't think that Cedric Tillman would be able to be the guy here, but he was 22% target share, second highest target share on the team this week, higher than David Njoku, higher than Jerry Jeudy. So that's just awesome. Really, really awesome. So, wow, what a performance by the Browns. And it's funny to me because it's not only does the offense look better without Deshaun Watson, but so does the defense. It's just this team hated Deshaun Watson so much. The coaching staff, the players, they didn't want to go to war for Deshaun Watson. They didn't care. They did not care. They just wanted to play ball. And that's fine. I'm sure they still tried hard. They're athletes. But with Jameis Winston, they want to win, Stin. I could do better than that, man. I could do so much better than that. But they want to win with Jameis Winston. They're going to war for him. I would go to war for Jameis Winston. What a likable guy. Super likable guy. Fires up the locker room, going out there, leading the league in pass yards in his first week as a starter. No interceptions. Shout out Cleveland. Shout out Cleveland for just, I don't know what Cleveland has done, but shout them out. I'm glad that they are. The arc for this team is just so weird. They're oh, we're on the way. Baker Mayfield's taking us to the playoffs. We're finally out of hell. Let's replace Baker Mayfield with a sexual predator that hasn't played ball in 2 years. Oh, now we suck. But we're good when the sexual predator is not at the helm. So shout out Cleveland for figuring that out. A bastion of a good faith this team is, apparently. I don't know. But hey, going to war for Jameis Winston, eating W's. Shout out Cleveland. Yeah, I totally agree. It would, at Positive Grouch, it is going to be totally Jameis Winston for him to go out next week and have 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. But for now, we're excited. For now, we're so excited. It's just, I love it. I just love it. I also love the Tank Dell touchdown. We talked about it on our start sits. We said start Tank Dell in your flex. We can't give up on this player. You just can't. if you have a better option, sure. But like with Nico Collins out against the Colts in a divisional game, you've got to start Tank Dell. Now, if he didn't score this touchdown, he would have sucked again. And I got to be honest with you, this is still making me concerned in Tank Dell. I'm excited about the touchdown, 4-4, 35 yards and a touchdown. But again, he should have more than 4 targets in a game that Nico Collins isn't playing. And he should have more than 4 targets in a game where Stephon Diggs gets injured. And he should have more than 4 targets in a game where it stays close the whole time. I am definitely a little concerned about Tank Dell. However, he got the touchdown. Stephon Diggs is probably going to be out for a week. So if you have Tank Dell, you've got to start him. And it'll be a big test, man. This will be a huge test for Tank Dell. I mean, he's going to be going up against number 1 corners with no other weapon really taking some coverage away. And CJ Stroud's already not playing that well so far this year. So Tank Dell is on watch. I don't know what kind of watch, but he's on watch. And we're watching him. But we're not giving up. And we're excited that he scored the touchdown. Shout out Tank Dell for finding the end zone on National Tight End Day. Number 4. In this same game. If you were to tell me that a quarterback threw 32 passes, had 175 yards, a touchdown and an interception, I would have been like, that's fine. Maybe he completed like 25 of those. Maybe he just didn't have an explosive play or something. And, maybe it was just a fine performance. 10 completions, though. Anthony Richardson, guys. I mean, he looked a little bit better when the game was on the line. I'm not going to lie. He was making some tight window throws, which was cool to see. But, I mean, like, is it the offensive coordinator? Is it A-Rich? I mean, like, how are you going to miss 22 throws? Like, actually, I need to know that. Because I feel like if I threw the ball 32 times, now, I would throw it to the running back more often than not, but I could probably complete 14 of them. 10 of 32 is crazy. And the fact that those 10 completions went for 175 yards and a touchdown is even more crazy. What a stat line. And that's just what he does. I just don't get it. 45 rush yards also. Could add a bit more. But man, Anthony Richardson, I know we've been talking about it. We're beating a dead horse here, but it's just like, he looks like a middle schooler playing Madden. You can't just take the deep shot every time, dude. You just can't. I know you have the arm for it. Jeez. I don't know. I mean, we're still believing in him. We're still buying Anthony Richardson. But man, he's got to figure this thing out. Like, this is worse than Josh Allen, right? Like, when Josh Allen was bad. Like, this is it's just hard to watch. Just hard to watch. I mean, like, come on, man. And yeah, the rushing upside has not really been there. And every time, I mean, like, literally every time, if you're an Anthony Richardson manager, every time you see him run, you're holding your breath because he just lowers his shoulders. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm just concerned. But yeah, you're buying him in Dynasty. In fact, you're super buying him in Dynasty. He's going to figure it out. He has the intangibles, and he has the right head on the shoulders. We're doing it. Getting Anthony Richardson. Davey Cake says, we? Yes, we. Go get Anthony Richardson, Davey, in Dynasty. And hold him. Because he's going to end up being good. It's just going to take a lot more time. Straight up for Penix. I mean, that's about right? That's about right. Trey Lance. This is a good point. Trey Lance does not have half the athleticism, arm, talent that Anthony Richardson has. Trey Lance got way overdrafted, way overhyped. Anthony Richardson actually has the right tools. He actually does. He just doesn't know how to play quarterback. So we'll see him develop. It's probably going to take at least like next year too, probably. just because last year was shortened. Like, he's probably going to have a rough next year as well. But hopefully he can start panning forward over the next few weeks. If he can end the season with just a 60% completion game, that would be pretty exciting. But we're getting Anthony Richardson in Dynasty, especially at the value right now. I mean, like, he's just really cheap. He's just really cheap. So we're doing it. We're also, call me crazy. Call me crazy. But we're also buying Christian Watson. I think that's the Packers wide receiver I'd rather have. I mean, I know that that is probably not the right move. But when I look at the pass catchers on Green Bay, I just want Christian Watson. I just really, really want Christian Watson, that athleticism, guys. The 4.36 speed at 6'4", 210 pounds. The 90th percentile college dominator. The massive ceiling games, Randy Moss record-tying stuff. You know, his rookie season. The fact that his injury that was always plaguing him was hamstring. Hasn't had a hamstring injury so far this season. I think that Christian Watson is trending in the right direction. 4 of 6, 39 yards, nothing to write home about. But 6 targets that was tied for team leading this week, 27% target share. And this was like his first week where he was like back, you know, like he got injured in week 4, missed week 5. Week 6, he actually scored a touchdown. Week 7, still only at like a 50% snap share. They were clearly still trying to get him acclimated. And now he's getting there. Now, here's the deal. Every week, it's going to kind of be a different Packers receiver. We finally saw the floor game for Jaden Reed. I'm not going to lie, I didn't expect that. I thought that Jaden Reed was going to be the consistent option here, and he's still going to be the more consistent option. But in terms of stealing, we still want Christian Watson. We still desperately want Christian Watson, actually. And so I don't know. I think that I want him pretty bad. If he can continue to get 5-6 targets on this offense from Jordan Love, that's all I need, especially with his athleticism. Throw him a couple carries in there as well. We're talking about J-Mo light, of course, like nothing too crazy. I had higher hopes for Christian Watson before. I've been very quiet about my love for Christian Watson this season, at least quieter than I had been. I mean, like, I've been a Christian Watson guy since his rookie season. I get very, very, very much into these types of players. I don't care about small school. You know, I just love the athleticism. And I think that the fact that you can dominate at a level, even if it's a lower level, shows that you belong in a level above, right? So I still believe in Christian Watson. We've seen the insane ceiling from him before. And I think we'll see it again this season. And so I want to buy him before we're reminded of that. You could probably get him what? You probably could get him for 2/3 if you're talking dynasty draft picks. And then you could probably swap him like a Deontay Johnson for Christian Watson plus, something like that. There are some moves out there where I think you could get Christian Watson for a very reasonable price. And if you have that boomer bust ability on your team, just throw them in your flex. Those boom weeks are going to be awesome for you. And I think we'll also start to see a little bit more consistency from him as well. Again, led the team in targets this week with 6. Let's go Christian Watson. And I see a lot of debate about Anthony Richardson. And so I just kind of want to go back to this. This is what I'm saying. We were saying all of this about Josh Allen, right? Like, he doesn't know how to play quarterback. You know, he's not a good. He doesn't know how to throw the ball. He doesn't know how to pass the ball. He's inaccurate. It took like 3 seasons. So we're just going to be patient with Anthony Richardson. And I'm not saying, I see it go down here. I'm not saying that he needs to turn in to Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is a special quarterback. We're going to talk about him later. Anthony Richardson just needs to be like, Justin Fields, you know, like, just like get back to top 12 dynasty quarterback. You don't have to be good at football to score fantasy points. So he doesn't have to be Jaden Daniels, but he has to score some touchdowns and get above a 50% completion percentage. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking Anthony Richardson to make the Pro Bowl. I'm not asking Anthony Richardson to make the playoffs. I just want to see this guy be consistent and look like he knows how to play the game that he's paid to play. And I think he'll get there. And I think it's gross negligence to think he won't get there. So we're buying Anthony Richardson in Dynasty. Congratulations, the freak. Congratulations. Now, we're moving on. We're moving on. Because what did we say on the Market Watch? Buy Marvin Harrison Jr. Block out the noise. He's very good at football. And for some reason, people thought that Marvin Harrison Jr. was just bad at football. I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing here? How are we going to go from Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best wide receiver prospect we've ever seen? He's going to be dominant as a rookie. To, oh, he skipped the pre-draft process and got a concussion. He sucks now. Like, how did we get there? Because we'd already seen the good performances from him this season. We had multiple 20-point games already. And the last 2 weeks were quiet because, yes, he was concussed. I mean, like, what do you want from a guy? Seriously. It was ridiculous to me. We talked about it on Wednesday. You're never going to be able to buy Marvin Harrison Jr. at this price again. And he's here to stay now, I guarantee it. Kyler Murray just threw for 307 yards against the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins, who are a top 5 pass defense heading into this game and still after this game. Marvin Harrison Jr., 6 of 7, 111 yards and a touchdown. Only took 7 targets for that. And there's going to be games where he's the one getting the 11 targets that Trey McBride got, and Trey McBride gets the 7. There's going to be games where Marvin Harrison gets 14, 15 targets. That was the most annoying thing. In fact, it has just been annoying all offseason. Can we as a fantasy community just cut it out? Do we really care that much about the combine that we're gonna literally just fade Marvin Harrison Jr.? We are better than that as a community. I hate it. I mean, come on, guys. Hope you bought him. Hope you bought him. And hope you bought Tua and the rest of the Miami Dolphins, as mentioned, for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Tua, 234 yards and a touchdown. The big story here is the fact that everything came to life. Devon Achane, 97 rush yards. Raheem Mostert, 2 rush touchdowns. Devon Achane, 50 receiving yards and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill, 6 receptions, 72 yards. Jalen Waddle, 4 receptions, 45 yards. That's fine. I see people kind of still freaking out about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Chill. We talked about it. Devon Achane on the Start Sit Show. D must start at running back. Because the Cardinals aren't that good at defending the run. Okay? Oh, God. So get Tyreek Hill if you still can. But for the most part, shout out to everyone that listened and bought these Dolphins. We all knew Tua was going to come back. And we knew everyone would be good again when he came back. So, hold your horses on your disappointment in Tyreek Hill, who, by the way, still got you 13 points. Jalen Waddle still got you 8.5. Like, that's not the worst. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. We're spoiled if you're upset about 13 points from Tyreek Hill. But shout out to Devon Achane. Shout out the Dolphins. They're all back. And it just takes a quarterback. Just takes a quarterback. And speaking of just needs a quarterback, the New York Jets, man. The absolute state of the city of New York. I guess they're in New Jersey. But still. We talked about it on the Pick'em show. We said the Patriots would win this game. Because the Jets just suck. I got so much hate. So much hate. I made a TikTok immediately little video immediately after the Jets traded for Davante Adams, just talking about how bad of a move it was. You know, why would you give these assets for Davante Adams when you're a bad football team? Why are you investing in all these old, decrepit assets right now when this team is in turmoil? In fact, it's starting to look like Davante Adams' arrival has just made the team worse. There's too many egos. Aaron Rodgers is kind of washed, although it's not a bad performance. 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. You take that. But, I mean, come on, guys. Like, we knew this was going to happen. Why would Davante Adams save the Jets? Why would adding a wide receiver into a solid wide receiver room make the team better? I don't know. Maybe they'll figure it out. But they're damn sure not making the playoffs. Awful franchise. Shout out Patriots. Sad Drake May got hurt, though. He was on, he was crushing it. He was crushing it on the ground, too. I mean, I guess that's what leads to a concussion. But still, shout out Drake May. He really looks like the real deal. So this is a buying opportunity for Drake May with this concussion. I see a lot of people probably kind of concerned, especially in redraft, you know, like, oh, he's concussed, you know, like I'm probably not going to have him this week in single quarterback. I can drop him. I really think that Drake May is good in single quarterback. Like I do. Like I want him in single QB. I want Bo Nix in single QB, who we'll talk about in a bit as well. With the rushing floor, with the game scripts that the Patriots are going to frequently find themselves in, I want Drake May bad. So if he's still available in Superflex for a decent price, get him. If he gets kind of, you know, wishy-washy in a redraft single QB league, go pick him up. Go scoop in for him because he's going to be good when he returns. And it's very possible. I mean, it's very possible he plays this week. He probably won't. But it's very possible he does. I mean, sometimes players clear the concussion protocol in a week. So while there's a little bit of an air of mystery around this, I would definitely be looking to try to get Drake May on all my teams. And all my teams have Atlanta Falcons, baby. I've got so many Atlanta Falcons. And I've got too much Kyle Pitts. Way too much Kyle Pitts. But I don't care. I'm excited today. Maybe it was National Tight End Day. But 4-5, 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. By the way, Kyle, if you're listening, what were you doing on that second touchdown? Actually, can you not just get to the end zone before celebrating, please? You know, I'm glad that they still called it a touchdown, and hopefully you can learn from that. But, like, dude, you don't do that. You don't put the ball behind you when you're crossing the plane. I don't know what the hell that was. Not a good football move, but I don't care. We saw explosive Kyle Pitts for the first time in a long time, and I am loving it. He's here. Kyle Pitts is here, baby. Only took a 17% target share. Oh, my God. Oh, man. All my Kyle Pitts shares are so excited this morning. He's been in my lineup all season, and I feel great about it. Where he's at? Where's he at right now? Where's he at right now? I know he was tight end 4 heading into the week. After this one, I mean, big shakeups probably, but through the season now, he probably finds himself, what, tight end 4 still? Yeah, tight end 4 still. That's fine. 88.9. Man, George Kittle is killing it. But Kyle Pitts, man, the breakout is finally here and upon us, and he's here to stay, and it's awesome. Darnell Mooney kills it. Bijan Robinson kills it. Kirk Cousins, 4 touchdowns again. Just love shredding the Buccaneers, this guy. But shout out Atlanta Falcons. Shout out them all. But most of all, shout out Kyle Pitts. I'm not going huge victory lap yet. We're saving the big Kyle Pitts victory lap for when he finishes the year as the tight end 1, baby. But for now, we're just really excited. Awesome game from him. Tight end 2 on the week. Tight end 4 at only 24. There you go. Nice one, Trip. Let's go. Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts, Kyle Pitts. And call me crazy, but I was actually impressed by Baker Mayfield in this game. I mean, I have no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, and only kind of like a week to kind of figure that out. He still goes out there, 330 pass yards, 3 interceptions, and yeah, he has 3 touchdowns and Yeah, he has 2 interceptions, but I mean, that's just the Falcons defense, right? They've got a great secondary. 50 pass attempts too, so that's got to be very, very comforting for people who were kind of ended up holding the bag with Baker Mayfield, such as myself. Cade Otton's the one you want, it looks like, although it could just be a Falcons thing. They are good against outside wide receivers. We didn't expect a good Jalen McMillan game anyway, but Jalen McMillan still had 7 targets, nothing to complain about. But for the next few weeks, while Mike Evans is out, it's going to be Cade Otton, Bucky Irving, Rachaad White, Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard, Trey Palmer, just kind of here, there, elsewhere. But Cade Otton looks to be of every week starting tight end. Baker Mayfield, it looks like you can still trust him, thankfully. And Rachaad White, Bucky Irving are going to catch a lot of passes the next few weeks. But shout out the Buccaneers. I know they lost this game, but they did keep it close. And I've also got to say, like, yeah, I just want to give them props, really. I mean, you're losing 2 key players for weeks. And so to come out there, play as well as they did, kind of already adapt their game plan in such a way, I like it. It's what we talked about, right? We expected this. We said, yeah, they're losing Chris Godwin. Yeah, they're losing Mike Evans. That's a big blow. But I think that there's enough of these other pieces to where they can still get it going, just in a different way, right? Using the running backs, using Cade Otton. And that's what we saw. So I'm glad that we saw it. Shout out Tampa. Too bad the Falcons are winning the NFC South, though. Not your year. Not your year, Tampa. But a good game, nonetheless, especially from Baker Mayfield. That was really good, in my opinion. I appreciated that performance from him. I did not, however, appreciate the Amari Cooper performance. Amari Pooper, if you will. 1 reception for 3 yards. But a takeaway here is that the Buffalo Bills are still the Buffalo Bills. They're still spreading this thing around. And it's going to come down from game to game. And I want to know if that was a Amari Cooper's covered thing, or if they literally have Amari Cooper brought in to take coverage away for the rest of the guys. I don't know. That'll become clear over the next few weeks. I think my understanding is that it's going to be how we expected it earlier in the season, how it showed earlier in the season, where 1 week it's this guy, next week it's this guy, next week it's this guy. But shout out Khalil Shakir, 9 receptions, 107 yards. Keon Coleman had an incredible touchdown grab. Dawson Knox had 50 yards. Dalton Kincaid, 31 yards and a touchdown for National Tight End Day. Good stuff from the Buffalo Bills pass catchers in lieu of Amari Cooper. So this will be something to keep our eye on over the next, let's give it 2 more weeks. Let's give it 2 more weeks, Amari Cooper and Buffalo, to really see what they're doing here. But I am slightly concerned. I'm not going to lie. That does raise some alarm bells to me. We did expect Amari Cooper to kind of be force-fed with this arrival. It seemed like a move that they did to force-feed a wide receiver 1. But it's just very possible that this matchup just wasn't conducive to Amari Cooper's success, which led to the other guys kind of carving the way. But good stuff from the Bills. Keon Coleman looks legit. Khalil Shakir is an awesome slot receiver. And sell Dalton Kincaid. Moving on to the Broncos, shout out Bo Nix, guys. This guy's awesome. Bo Nix is really good. Again, we talked about it all offseason, right? We want every rookie quarterback. We want them all. We believed in them all. And I know that generally that could be taken as a Jason, you're too positive person, but I firmly believed in the landing spots of these quarterbacks. All of them. They all got the right spot. And that is just so rare. And Bo Nix, Sean Payton on this Broncos team, I know it was the Panthers, but still all year Bo Nix has kind of been doing this. 284 pass yards, 3 passing touchdowns, no interceptions, a rushing touchdown. Bo Nix is legit. And I just love to see it. I do. I like it a lot. He has a very fun gameplay style. And I mean, he has the floor too. I mean, like, he is putting up fantasy points. So he's still acquirable, I think, for way too cheap. I traded Brock Purdy in a super flex for Bo Nix and Jonathan Taylor a couple weeks ago. And I just don't think the difference from Bo Nix to Brock Purdy is that big. Being honest with you, Jonathan Taylor, to close the gap, that's crazy. And that type of stuff is out there. Now, this was a couple weeks ago. I don't know about Brock Purdy value now, but still. You got to get Bo Nix if you can. Even after this game, I'm sure that people are still just not sold on Bo Nix for whatever reason. whether it's a disdain for Sean Payton, just not liking the weapons in Denver. There's just a weird air and aura around Denver Broncos fantasy assets where people just give up on them and don't value them correctly. Except for some reason, Javonte, where everyone overvalues him. We talked about it last week. One of these selling highs that we've seen. So hopefully you heeded that advice. You do not want to be caught holding the bag of any Broncos running back. It's just too much of a mess. You only want Bo Nix and Troy Franklin on this Broncos team. You really do. Javonte Williams, fine. 17 carries, 44 yards, 4 receptions to help you get there in fantasy points. But it's just, you just can't. Javonte Williams is just not that guy. I don't know if you could sell him anymore. But man, just don't like these Broncos running backs. Hopefully you sold high. Now you're kind of stuck. But yeah, I mean, hey, bad game, fine game, I guess. Fine game. That's the thing. I guess that's the thing, right? Is you just get fine games. Now, last week he had the awesome game. But think about it. This was the Panthers. And I see it in the chat. We're talking about how, that Bo Nix did this against the Panthers. How can you double count that? Well, Javonte Williams, he should have had a good game against the Panthers, and he didn't. So I don't know. It's just weird in Denver. I don't like it. I just don't like it. It's too much of a headache to me. Fantasy football is best played when you don't have a headache. So screw the Broncos running backs. Hopefully you sold high on Javonte after his monster performance last week. And now everyone in the chat, I want to know your thoughts, everyone in the YouTube comments, but I thought Bryce Young looked fine. I thought he looked fine. 24-37, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 3 carries for 6 yards. I mean, not the worst. Goes down there on his first drive against the Broncos, who have been, a top 3 defense, all in all, right? Against the pass, against the run. Goes out there and scores a touchdown on his first drive. He looked fine. He looked fine. He looked fine. But while we don't like fine for the running back, we don't mind fine for quarterback, especially in Superflex leagues. So, I mean, he looked all right for a 12-year-old, took a Bryce Young-sized step forward. Good comments. But this is what we talked about, right? He was just put in a horrible, horrible situation. And then, because he had all the game reps, he was forced to start this year. And we could go on and on about if that's the right decision. I think the Panthers should have treated this as a rookie season and given Andy Dalton the reins at the beginning. But they didn't. But he had a few weeks. He had a few weeks and he figured it out. At least a little bit. And I think now I'm calling it now that this is where Bryce Young starts to step forward. He's probably going to start rest of year. I'm going to go ahead and call that as well. Yes, Xavier Legette is going to be good rest of year as well. But I don't think Andy Dalton's getting this job back. Andy Dalton lost a lot of, not value, but just he lost a lot of steam. He got worse and worse and worse as the time went on. And so I think that Bryce Young is going to have it the rest of the way. I think he looked decent enough in this game against a tough opponent that he's going to be able to build upon this rest of season. He's probably not going to be startable even in Superflex. I don't think you're ever really going to have that confidence, but I think it's worth acquiring him. I'm going to be honest with you. We talked about it a few weeks ago too, right? We were saying, hey, if he was dropped, pick him up. He's going to see the field again. There's no way Andy Dalton finishes the year as the starter. Unfortunately, a car crash happened, kind of separate of that, but still. Bryce Young, fine. He looked fine. And I keep seeing all this stuff about Nix not playing the Panthers every week. He's the QB9 on the season. It's not like he's played the Panthers all year. He has been good. Bo Nix has been good. Moving on from Bryce Young and Bo Nix. Kansas City. DeAndre Hopkins landed in Kansas City. What does it mean? It means 2 receptions for 29 yards. Now, this is the first week. I think that's fine to build upon. Hopefully, we see a touchdown. We want to see a touchdown for DeAndre Hopkins. Thought it could happen this week. Amari Cooper scored in his first game as a Bill. Thought maybe D-Hop would be able to score, especially in a divisional game. Just kind of run it up on the Raiders. But it actually ended up being a competitive game. Patrick Mahomes still kind of sucks. And Travis Kelce on National Tight End Day did the deed. 10 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Xavier Worthy found the end zone as well. And that's kind of good, right? This was one of the things we talked about, right? We talked on the Market Watch the day DeAndre Hopkins was traded. Buy DeAndre Hopkins, but also buy Xavier Worthy because DeAndre Hopkins is going to open up the field for Xavier Worthy. And we saw it. And vice versa, too. Xavier Worthy is going to kind of open up the field for DeAndre Hopkins. It's really going to come down to matchups. But yeah, Xavier Worthy, you can have a little bit more confidence in him. Looks like you can still have confidence in Travis Kelce. But DeAndre Hopkins is going to get more work. I think next week, 3-4 receptions. We'll see a touchdown at some point, too. Still look to buy DeAndre Hopkins, I would say. I keep getting some offers for my D-Hop shares in Dynasty Leagues, and I'm bud. I'm making that late season push in the Trade Gods League. It was in like 8th, 9th maybe. But I'm moving up to 6th. I'm making the playoffs. I'm winning the Trade Gods League. And a big part of it's going to be D-Hop. Maybe. I don't know. That might have been a touch too far. But I still think he's going to be fine. We'll keep using the fine word on today's show. 2 for 29, I think, will probably be about his floor. And that's fine. We don't care about 4.9 points too much, especially in the first game on a new team for a player who's technically injured. I don't think he was actually injured. I think he hated being in Tennessee. But D-Hop, let's go. Chicago. Now, it didn't end up as good as we wanted it to be, but we did say to start Rome Odunze. We said after the bye week, Rome Odunze is going to be involved more. He was. He led the team in receptions, had a 25% target share. I guarantee it's going to be like that rest of the year. So, this is all hands on deck, screaming from the rooftops. This is the floor for Rome Odunze's dynasty value. If you can acquire this player, do it right this second. Every single one of you listening, go send out a Rome Odunze trade and go get him. Go get Rome Odunze. He is a quarter of a step worse than Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors on a very good ascending team. Rome Odunze is like the buy of buys. You have to get this player. Go get Rome. And I know you guys are wondering, Jason, is it time to sell DeAndre Swift yet? No. It is still not time to sell DeAndre Swift. This is going to be a big, big success story from me. I went very heavy on DeAndre Swift, and it's starting to reward me. 18 carries, 129 yards, and a touchdown. And I think this is kind of the main point. The best way to play fantasy football is to have memory, to just remember. Because if you just remembered, you would remember that DeAndre Swift is good at football. And I just think that people wanted to unfairly give up on DeAndre Swift because things ended poorly in Detroit. But as we talked about, he stayed healthy in Philadelphia last year, had 1,000 rush yards, and the only issue was the fact he couldn't really find the end zone. And the only reason he couldn't find the end zone is the same reason Saquon is struggling to find the end zone. Jalen Hurts and that damn tush push. That ain't happening in Chicago. And DeAndre Swift is not only finding the end zone, he's finding explosive play after explosive play after explosive play. And I bet if I pulled up Keep Trade Cut right now, he's still outside the top 20 of dynasty running backs. A guy who was a top 5 dynasty running back just a few seasons ago, which is why I say just remember. Just remember. Just remember that we all believed in Marvin Harrison Jr. Just remember that we all believed in DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift is the RB21 on Keep Trade Cut right now. He's behind Tank Bigsby and Bucky Irving. Why? Actually, why? So no, we're not selling DeAndre Swift yet. We're holding until people remember and are shown that this guy's just good at football. He's a stud. He's hyper athletic. He's on a great offense now. And he's getting utilized after being paid the big bucks. DeAndre Swift, D-Swizzle, Romo Doomsday, buys on Chicago. Shout out to that offense. And man, oh man, Jaden Daniels. You know, we talked last year, CJ Stroud deserved the MVP. Jaden Daniels may damn well deserve the MVP as a rookie this year. He probably won't get it. It doesn't seem they want to give it to rookies. But this guy is too good at football. And maybe it's a virtue of, you know, the long learning career in college. You know, 55 games played, I think, something like that. Kind of same thing we're seeing with Bo Nix, right? Like, they come in pro ready because they played so long in college, and it really is awesome. Playing through an injury, 21 of 38, 326 pass yards, a passing touchdown, 52 rushing yards. Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, and Noah Brown all get there against a tough, stingy Bears defense. They win on a Hail Mary, which, by the way, I can't remember who it was, but there was the Bears defender that just wasn't even watching the Hail Mary. Have you seen this? I've got to find this clip. I should have pulled up the clip for this. Here we go. This YouTube video here. This dope. I'll just share the picture. I won't even play the video. I'll probably get copywritten. But look at this. This is before the play. Just kind of standing there. And then he's like hyping up the crowd. And the ball snaps and he tries his best to get there. And then he's the one that bats it up for Noah Brown. Awful play, man. Keep your head in the game, dude. What are you doing? But shout out Jaden Daniels. What a stud. What a stud, man. Honestly, I'm very curious to see how the MVP race goes because I think that he's at least going to be talked about. Like we talked about CJ Stroud last year, and I just think that's exciting. I bet the odds are crazy. Man, I'm going to keep – this is a Google show. Let's see. What are the MVP odds right now? NFL MVP odds. Pretty good odds. Pretty good odds if you want to get crazy here, guys. Jaden Daniels plus 1,000. Not terrible. Not terrible. Although there's probably some better ones out there, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Lamar Jackson's on the way to repeat, right? So it's probably going to be him, but plus 1,000 for Jaden Daniels. Plus 4,000 for Derrick Henry. Those are two fun ones right there. Fun little betting things. Not a big bettor. Don't throw more money than you can lose. I'm not a big gambling fan, but hey, plus 1,000 for Jaden, plus 4,000 for Derrick Henry, MVP right now. Kind of fun, at least. Throw $5-10 on there, see what happens. But Jaden Daniels, what a stud. Seriously. This is why we talked about selling Caleb Williams for Jaden Daniels plus. Why we talked about, you know, why is Jaden Daniels so cheap in redraft? He's just awesome, guys. Just a stud. Next takeaway. I don't want this to come across as a victory lap because I hate when I end up being right because of an injury, right? But Isaac Gendo is awesome. He's so good. And we talked about the 49ers handcuff you want heading into the year. This was heading into the year, you know, you want Isaac Gendo more than you want Jordan Mason. And that was wrong all year. Wrong all year. Still probably wrong. I'll take that out. But I'm very, very happy I have Isaac Gendo. He's awesome. 3 receptions for 17 yards, 14 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. That speed is incredible. That run scheme is incredible. And he's going to be so good the next few weeks while we're waiting on Christian McCaffrey. Because I don't think Jordan Mason is coming back. Isaac Gendo is a stud. And I bet he still sees the field when Christian McCaffrey returns. I don't think Christian McCaffrey gets a full workload. It's going to be impossible to get Isaac Gendo right now, probably. But if you can get him for pretty cheap still, I would try. Because I think next year even, he's going to be a big part of this 49ers offense, right? I think that this is just a better Elijah Mitchell, right? Like, Elijah Mitchell was incredible, so good. But he didn't have the frame. Isaac Gendo somehow has the frame. Like he's like, I think 220 pounds. Let me fact check that. I'm pretty sure he's 220 pounds, like almost on the dot. On top of being like 6 feet tall. Like he's just a dode, right? Yeah, 6 feet, 221 with that 4.33 speed. This is a match made in heaven in San Francisco. I really think he's going to be involved even when Christian McCaffrey returns and even when Jordan Mason returns, because this is now 2 weeks that Jordan Mason has gotten injured in game and Jordan Mason went wild, or Isaac Guerrero went wild, because he's just that good. He can step up with that speed in that run scheme. He's just going to go in and run like crazy. Total stud, Isaac Guerrero. This is why you stash high upside running backs. This is why we say it time and time again. We just keep our waiver wire show. We mention like every backup running back with juice. Isaac Guerrero is one of those. What a stud. Seriously, next 2 weeks, locked in starter. And finally, Dalvin Cook is not your savior. But CeeDee Lamb is. Dalvin Cook, 6 carries, 12 yards. Ezekiel Elliott, 10 carries, 34 yards, finds the end zone. Dallas Cowboys just can't run the damn ball. But towards the end of the game, especially towards the end of the game, they remembered that they can press the CeeDee Lamb button. Same thing we saw last year, right? CeeDee Lamb just started the year off slow, and then the Cowboys remembered, oh my God, we have an elite wide receiver. And so hopefully this is a step in the right direction for him to go on a tear. Rest of year, 39.6 points, 13 carries, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 45% target share. Cat's out of the bag now. That might have been Isaac Guerrero boast, but still. CeeDee Lamb is incredible. We all knew it. There was a lot of panic around CeeDee Lamb for sure. But as we saw last year, started the year slow. End of the game here, they remember, oh my God, we have CeeDee Lamb. They utilize him. And he gets open at will. He scores at will. He's very, 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 very good. And so congratulations to everyone that held on to him and maybe was able to buy him at a discount, really. But I think rest of year, he's going to keep going. He's just going to keep going. The Cowboys remember now. And he's going to get force-fed like he was last year and try his best to catch up to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. But yeah, Dalvin Cook, not your savior. CeeDee Lamb is. All right, guys. Going to hop into the chat, answer a few questions here. Not too many. We've already been going for a while, but I saw some questions asked today. Try my best. All right, here we go. Traded Lockett for Guerrero. I love that. You traded Puka in a 25-second and a 26-second. For Jonathan Taylor, Isaac Guerrero, and Vidal, I like that as well. Got that running back room. On lock, really. Let's see. What else we got here? Not too much, really. It seems, just kind of mostly agreeing with the takes here, so appreciate that, guys. Or arguing with the takes, but I also appreciate that. Yeah, I think we did it. I think we did it, guys. This has been a fun one. We're heading into week 9 now. We're halfway through the season. I guess we still have one more game, but who really cares about Steelers-Giants? Steelers fans and Giants fans, I guess. I don't know. It could be fun. Maybe. But anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you guys did great in week 8. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you tune in tomorrow for our waiver wire episode. You all have a magnificent Monday and a wonderful rest of your week. Peace.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.